All right, well, everybody, thank you for joining. This webinar is part of a series of micro learnings that our Mountain Midwest Hub hosts in partnership with different Y leaders as well as other community leaders on different learning areas, basically, that we believe our leaders can benefit from. And before I introduce our speaker today, I just wanted to acknowledge that we are all gathering on a national holiday, Juneteenth, which, if you did not know, is short for June 19th, which is today. And that honors the day in 1865 when federal troops arrived in Texas bearing a message of freedom for enslaved people. The troops' arrival actually came 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, and that day was celebrated as well as several others at the time. But June 19th just kind of rose to the top as a day that continued to be celebrated, and today is a federal holiday. So would just encourage you all to use today to reflect on that history, including our progress as an organization towards equity, as well as addressing those forces that undermine it. Think about how you might support Black-owned businesses, nonprofits that fight for social justice and equity. But thanks for sharing your time today on a holiday with us. So now I'm really pleased to introduce Katie Mandel, who is the Director of Community Wellness for the Greater Green Bay YMCA Association. Prior to the Y, Katie racked up quite a bit of experience, right, as a registered dietitian in retail, healthcare, and corporate sectors over 8 years that she's now brought to the Y through growth and innovation of health specialty programs for Green Bay. And I believe, Katie, you kind of got into working with the Y from partnering with the Y in your previous kind of career life. So we're very lucky to have you in the Y world now and looking forward to hearing what you have to share with us.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Allie. And thank you so much for everybody who's joining us today. I'm so excited to share the next half an hour with you. I know that time is both precious and limited. So thank you so much for choosing to be with us today. I hope that this tool will be an awesome way for you to continue that connection with your members and your associations. Hello, everybody. If I haven't had a chance to meet you, as Allie said, my name is Katie, and I do work for the Greater Green Bay YMCA Association in Wisconsin. So greetings from Wisconsin on this wonderful day. And today we are going to talk a little bit about a tool that I found really helpful in my career and something that we now use on our health specialty team and throughout our YMCA association. So I'm going to share my screen with you all today. Bear with me because technology is not always my strong suit. All right. So before we jump into this tool, I just wanted to say thank you so much again. I don't know if anyone has seen this tool before, but I think if you were to Google what a wellness wheel is, you would see about 12 different iterations of a wellness wheel online. So I'm just going to present one option to you today. This is something that we've utilized to both grow and develop new programs and also to help enhance connection in our current programs. So just to give you a little bit of background, health specialty in our Greater Green Bay YMCA Association are programs that serve people who may have been diagnosed with a chronic health condition or some form of a health challenge as they go throughout their life. And so one thing that we've really aimed to do here on our team and in our association is to make sure that we're walking alongside people as they go on that journey and that we're truly able to connect and support them regardless of what challenges they may be facing with their health. So our team works in programming like exercising with Parkinson's disease. We run cancer survivorship programming, specifically the Live Strong at the YMCA program. We have arthritis programming. We have hypertension programming. And recently we've developed a newer program where we've really utilized this tool of a wellness wheel and self-reflection to help people connect more deeply with themselves, with their health goals, and then with the why as well. And so today I'm going to walk you through one of the tools that we've used to kind of fuel and create that course. But I think that this is a tool that could be utilized in a variety of different settings as well. So if you are not familiar with a wellness wheel, have no fear. We're going to break it down today. If you have used this before, I'll be excited to hear more about how everyone has used it in their practice. But before I jump into explaining the tool, I just want to take a moment to do something that I typically will also offer in my classes. When we talk about holistic health and well-being, I think we first most have to acknowledge that well-being is really tied to our individual identities, and that can be really impacted by systemic health inequities as well. So I don't think we can talk about this wellness wheel or holistic health in general without acknowledging the systems of oppression that do exist in our world. And that's something I usually offer to my classes when I present this tool, just to create a more inclusive space, a safe space where we can really explore our own self-reflection on where we are on that health journey and how we interact with the world. So as we get started, I put on the screen just an example of a wellness wheel. Now, again, I think if you were to look this up online, you would probably see about 12 different versions of this. Sometimes you'll hear it called, the 8 dimensions of wellness. There are wheels that have been adapted to fit younger populations. And this is just one example of the wheel that we utilize in our program in health specialty. Now, this is a tool that could be administered visually by having people write and physically do their own, but this could also be administered verbally. So, this is something that we use oftentimes in our Parkinson's programming. However, sometimes fine motor can be a challenge. And so we just help them verbalize and talk through some of these wellness wheels as well. So know that this tool is moldable to whatever you might need it for and whatever population you might be serving. So what you see in front of you kind of looks like a bike tire, right? That's how I like to think about it. And this is a tool to really help people start thinking about their health and all of the different things that might be impacting their health, right? Sometimes we hear nutrition and movement as 2 of our biggest things, and it's not that those 2 areas of our life can't impact our overall health. Oftentimes, there's a lot of other things that go into it. And so this is a really great tool to help really understand the people that we're working with, to understand what's important in their life, what they're working on, and then how we might be able to connect them to services or resources at the Y that really fits truly what they are aiming to achieve. So in front of you, you kind of see different slices of that pie, if you will. And the great thing about this is that you can buy or find wellness wheels that have all of these different pieces of the pie pre-labeled, or you can choose to label these pieces yourself. Personally, I really like to use blank wellness wheels because I think when you ask people, what 6 things really impact your overall health? That tells you a lot about who they are, what they value, and maybe what they want to work on. And so I personally have chosen to use a blank wellness wheel in a lot of my courses and a lot of the courses that our teams utilize. However, if you're somebody who likes a little bit more structure to what you're doing, you can certainly find wellness wheels that will have those prescribed areas already written on for you. So, step 1 of a wellness wheel. When we are in our programming, the first thing that we typically do will be to ask them, what types of things do you feel like are impacting your health right now? And I say now because this is a tool that can be utilized over and over and over again throughout someone's life. And it's okay if the things that are impacting their health change over time. So I've just put an example on the screen for you, but they could, of course, list anything that they feel might be impacting their health. If you feel like people are struggling to come up with 6 different things that might be impacting your health, I've also seen wellness wheels that have a little key on the top that give a list of different ideas that they can refer back to. So maybe they might not come up with it on their own, but if they read it or come up with something from a list, that's a great opportunity as well. So I went ahead and just filled in a number of different categories that are really common in our programming that we see come up. So once we've identified that there are many things that might impact our health and impact our goals, then we want to take that next step of seeing where are we in each of those categories in our life. So the second thing that I will ask them to do is to give themselves kind of a self-reflection score. So where do I feel like I am right now on my health journey in these different aspects of my life? There's a couple of things that I really like to make sure that we emphasize when we do these self-reflection ratings. A, giving yourself a low rating does not mean you failed. It just means that's where we are right now. It doesn't mean it's where we have to stay, but it's just an opportunity to look at where we are and what might be impacting our health or our goals that we've set. So as you can see, we have numbers on each concentric ring in that circle. So 1 being, I don't feel so good about where I am in this category right now. 10 being like, oh my gosh, things are going wonderfully. I'm so happy and this is great. So step number 2 is to give them a few minutes to do some self-reflection. Where do I feel I am with my mental health right now? Where do I feel I am on my movement journey? So on and so forth. And then once they've had an opportunity to kind of make a dot on wherever they feel they are, then we go through the process of connecting the dot. Now, before I show you this next screen, please forgive me. This was hard to accomplish on a computer screen, but our goal is to help them connect those dots. Okay, so we want to have them go ahead and highlight each of the little arches that they're dots on, and then connect the strong lines in the middle. Now, when I'm using this tool in our classes, typically what I'm going to do is ask the members to connect it and then to take a look at their wheel. And if we go back to that analogy of the bike tire, typically the question I ask is, if this is the bike tire that you're riding on towards your goal, how does your ride feel? I don't know about you, but if this is my bike tire, I think my bum is going to hurt a little bit because it's going to be a pretty bumpy ride, right? And so the next question we typically will ask is, how do you think we can make the ride a little bit more smooth for you? Now, is it about having a 10 out of 10 in every one of these categories? Absolutely not, right? It's not about being perfect in every area of our life. But sometimes when we have big goals and lots to think about, a really good place to start is where our biggest bump might be, and to see if we can align that with some smaller goals that will help us take steps towards our overarching health goal or our health journey. So, this is always a really interesting exercise. And like I mentioned, you can use this in a lot of different settings. We've done these in group settings. I've done these in one-on-one coaching appointments. And I think it can be really, really a neat tool to understand better what people are trying to work towards, right? Now, we can't be everything for everyone at the Y all the time, right? Even though we would really like to be. But sometimes just having a safe space to stop, take a break, and reflect on where we are can help people get that self-propelling motion to move forward on their goals. And that's one of the coolest things I think that we saw come out of some of our programming where we've used this tool is just that people have said, I never really stopped long enough to think about how much these things were connected, right? I never really stopped long enough to think about how much that was weighing on me or my goal. And so it's been a really, really fun tool to utilize and to help start that conversation of, who are you? Where do you want to go? What are your goals at the Y? And how do we help connect you to the people that might help you best reach those goals? And I think that these tools have fueled a lot of really neat conversations amongst groups as well, because it kind of becomes a point of conversation between members and allows them to connect with each other as well. And when we've all kind of worked on this and had a level set where we've all reflected, they're able to share what they like and they're able to save for themselves what they don't feel comfortable sharing. But sometimes it opens a door for that extra support and accountability amongst members, which is really fun too. Because, we can invite and encourage and connect, but sometimes it's about finding a friend that's on a journey. even if it's not the same as yours, if you can bring them along and help them take steps towards their goal, that helps with that inclusivity and that retention as well. So this has been a really, really fun tool for all of us. You know, I've seen my team use it not only specifically in our health specialty programs, but I've also seen them take it out into their wellness time as they're meeting members out on the floor. We have something called Smart Starts in our association, which is basically 3 free appointments that members get when they join the Y. And our wellness team and personal trainers will meet with them and kind of do some of this goal setting. So I've seen some of our trainers and wellness staff utilize this tool in that way. And the feedback we've gotten has just been really positive. I think it's a pretty approachable way to talk about health and wellness. And it just opens some doors for different kinds of conversation that sometimes we don't always get, you know, when we just ask, hey, what's your goal? This has also been really helpful for those folks who seem to have really, really, really big goals and they want to do all of the things at once. You know, we think that's great, but to help them kind of focus into something to start with, sometimes this makes it a little more tangible and feel a little less overwhelming. So this has been a really neat opportunity and something that we've used across the board in our Ys. Some spaces that I would love to see this used in the future that we have not yet explored might be with some of our youth programming, because they think this could be a really, really neat reflection tool as we continue to move forward. I specifically don't work in the youth space as often as I would like to, but I'm really excited to see how this might be incorporated in other avenues. And I think that, you know, this is just one way to get that conversation going, and just had a great time with it. So with that, I want to make sure I'm respecting everyone's time, and I know we only have 10 minutes left. And Ellie, I know we wanted time for questions, and I'd be happy to answer any that people have.
Thank you, Katie. I am going to stop the recording here so that we can all have our candid conversation off the record. But want to say thank you before we do that.